Let's get analysis now. Geraint Johns joins us, an economist from Lancaster University in the northwest of England. Good evening to you, sir. And I wonder whether Mrs May is actually being frank and correct here, or is she trying to convince herself that this is going to happen?
She's trying to convince herself. She's trying to convince the hard Brexiters to her right and the soft Brexiters to her left. And it's very difficult for her to convince all of those groups at the same time. There are different elements of the withdrawal agreement, different elements of the political declaration that she hopes will be attractive to various groups. But it really is a case of trying to talk to many different people, many different interests. And she's been Janus-like in trying to face two ways on this. And we're coming to the crunch time now where it is very difficult for her to carry this through.
It's almost like she's playing a political game of Twister, that game you've got to put your hands on different parts of the board, and when a number is called out. And then Spain coming forward and bringing up their complaints as well. Maybe can't scupper the deal, but certainly throws a little bit more confusion into the equation.
Well, you know, at some stage when you're playing Twister, the whole thing collapses, and that's when the game is won or lost. The Spain thing, I think there's an election happening in Andalusia on the 2nd of December, and there's some manoeuvring going on in connection with that. What Spain are concerned with is Article 184 in the withdrawal agreement, which says that the progress to working out the new trade agreement between the UK and the European Union will take the form of discussions between the UK and European Union. And there's no mention there of what will happen in the case of Gibraltar. Spain wants to have a binary relationship with Britain as it negotiates the future of trade as it affects Gibraltar. And so it's kicking up a bit of a fuss about this at the moment. In fact, over the last couple of years, the UK and Spain have been having bilateral negotiations over things like taxation, over things like the border between Spain and Gibraltar. And Spain are just, I think, wanting to make sure that that continues as a bilateral arrangement.
And Geraint, if I've understood correctly, the British economy, the UK economy, has taken a real hit since this whole Brexit shenanigan began. 2% wiped off the GDP since the referendum. It costs like £500 million a week and rising, according to some sources. As an economist, your area of speciality, does it make sense to carry on? Would it be better just to call a halt to this and sort of, I don't know, I mean, I know you can't just stop it and go back to how it was before, but can Britain afford to carry on?
The problem is that Brexit isn't just an economic issue. There are many things that overlay the economics of this. So there's the matter of national identity, there's issues of sovereignty, and for some, there's also the issue of how we best stimulate the economy. So while the general consensus amongst economists, 95% of economists would agree with you and say, you know, the UK has already taken a bit of a hit with Brexit, even before Brexit has happened, and the loss of trade is going to cost us very dearly. At the harder the Brexit, the greater the economic cost will be. But there are some ideological Brexiters who would like to have free trade with a wider range of countries around the world than just the European Union. The problem is the practicalities of arranging that. It's just not realistic to suppose that could happen in the short term. I think on the news today about the political declaration, I think it's important to stress there's been a win here for President Macron, who has been very insistent that the integrity of the single market, the four freedoms, the customs union should not be compromised in the forthcoming relationship with the UK. And that aspect has been very much strengthened since the draft political declaration was published last week. And that is going to make it very much harder for Britain to have an effective soft Brexit out of this. So the economic hit is going to be harder.
Geraint Johns, thank you very much indeed for joining us from the Lancaster School of Management up there in the northwest of England. Pleasure having you on board. Thank you for your analysis. Thank you for your generosity of spirit in the answers you gave us as well. I think you gave us a real sense of the scale of what could hit the United Kingdom very, very shortly. And we, of course, will continue our Brexit reporting in depth here on France 24 in all our languages.